Welcome, seniors. I'm happy to see you all. It is Wednesday, it's 1 o'clock, so thank you for being here. We're talking today about the California State University application. The application is now open and it is due on December 4th. So I have a presentation to share with you. There's about 16 of us in here, which is a good number. So please feel free to just unmute and ask questions, or you can put them in the chat, and Zoe is my amazing helper today, and she'll share your questions with the group. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and present. I'm going to present my screen here and share this application with you. Okay. Zoe, everything look good? Everyone can see?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we're talking about the California State University application, or the CSU application. Okay, the agenda today, we're going to talk about the admissions eligibility because it is different this year than it has been in previous years. We're going to go over an application checklist, what you need to have in order to do your application. I'm going to show you like my sample application, and I'm going to show you like usually there's about 2 problems that students have if they have a problem, and I'll show you those. Really want to emphasize that you always want to select your courses. You never want to type them in, and we'll go over that together. We're going to talk about the EOP application and what that is and who wants to do it. And then again, my whole goal is for me to only chat at you for a little while, and then for you to create your own account and start working on it. Okay, sound good? Yeah. Okay, so this is the application filing period, and this is what's different this year than any other year. I've been doing this 20 years. It was always, the deadline was November 30th, November 30th, November 30th. This year, because of Thanksgiving, and I think because of COVID as well, they recognize that if they make it November 30th, it's right after Thanksgiving, and students may not have the opportunity to get help and assistance from their high schools. So they've extended it to December 4th. So that's a great thing. Yay. And that's the website you're going to use to apply. Okay. Before we get started, I just want to talk about the California State University system. Okay. So you may not be aware, or maybe you are aware, there are 23 campuses. So they're as far north as Humboldt, you can see is almost near the Oregon border, all the way south at San Diego State. And that's actually where I went to school for my my master's degree. I went to San Diego State University. And so they range completely, they are all different. So if you step on foot, like, on campus, if you go to Cal Maritime, it feels totally different than Cal State Northridge, which feels totally different than Cal State Channel Islands. They all have their own unique flavor, okay? The smallest campus is Cal Maritime with only 1,000 students. You actually wear a uniform there, and it almost feels like a military academy, but it also has the highest job placement by far of any CSU campus. So if you want a job, that's a great college to go to. The biggest one right now is Cal State Northridge with 35,000 students. So it's a very, very large campus. The best part I'd say about the CSU system is that it is a bargain. The tuition is set by the state at $5,742 a year. So there are also additional fees. So between tuition and fees, some campuses like San Luis Obispo, it's closer to $8,000 altogether with tuition and fees. So, but still, it's quite a bargain compared to a lot of other universities. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you, as you're trying to decide which campuses that you want to apply to, you also want to look at what degrees are available at which campus. So if you're very sure, I want to study psychology or I want to study engineering, you can search for CSU degrees, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You can say, I want a bachelor's degree in psychology, and it'll show you all the campuses that offer that. Okay, you can also do something called a CSU campus match. And here you can say, show me a school in Southern California that has less than 20,000 people, that's in a larger city that offers, football or something. And it'll show you which campuses match your criteria. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I wanted to go over the eligibility requirements for this fall. What's different this year is that the SAT and ACT are not required. In fact, they're not allowed to look at them. So all you have to do, honestly, is you have to graduate from high school and you have to have 15 units of comprehensive, what we call A through G. And so if you look on the right there in that visual, you'll see the pie chart, right? So basically, if you graduate from charter with a C- or better in every one of these classes. So 4 years of English, right? 3 years of math, 2 years of history, social science. If you've done a visual performing art, which you all have done 7, if you've taken 2 years of foreign language, and if you've taken biology and chemistry, then you have automatically met this requirement. You may also not realize that it says 2 years of history, social science. So for us, that's world history and US history. Then you'll see a category G is college prep elective. That's where our government and economic falls under, okay? So you all don't have just 15 units of A through G. Most of you probably have like 20, 25 units of A through G, okay? Just because of all the extra arts classes or extra classes that you've taken. The other requirement that's changed this year is that you have to, if you're a California resident, well, not have to, but what they're looking at is if you have a 2.5 or higher GPA, okay? And that's local area. So for us, who knows, and it's even written on this screen, who could tell me, and Zoe, you can see if someone writes it in the chat, what is our local area CSU? Which one is it? What's the one that we live closest to?
Sac State.
Yeah, thank you. That was easy, huh? It was even written down there. So because you live in the local area, you actually have to have a lower GPA than someone coming from out of area. So that means if somebody like my friend's niece wanted to come to Sac State, and she was coming from SoCal, she had to have a higher GPA than you guys did, right? Same thing goes if you want to go to a school where you're out of area. So if you want to go to San Francisco State or Cal State Long Beach, you would have to have a 2.75 or above. Now, they do say they will look at students who have GPAs between 2.0 and 2.49 if there's supplemental factors. So if there were some issues that came up that impacted the student's ability to get that 2.5. Okay? Okay, Zoe, any questions in the chat?
I don't see any. Nope.
No? Okay, thank you. Okay, so real quickly, what will you need to fill out this application? You'll have to have your unofficial transcript, right? Okay, and it should have on there what classes you're currently taking right now. If you don't have a transcript, all you have to do is send me an email or Miss Woods, Miss Drusha Woods, who is our admin assistant for counseling, and we'll email you a digital copy as soon as we can. They say test scores on here. The only reason, again, they're not required, but if you have taken a test, they can use this to place you in classes. So they can basically say, hey, you don't need to take our placement test because you got a 550 on the SAT and math, you're good to go. But again, if you don't have a test score, not required. If you have a social security number, you're going to need that. And please, please, please don't guess at it. I can't tell you, I had a student like 4 years ago, he accidentally reversed the 8 and the 0. Oh my goodness, he must have spent 4 or 5 hours on the phone trying to fix it with several different people because of that one little error of switching 2 numbers around. So please make sure you know exactly what it is. They are going to ask you your citizen status and your parents' status, so make sure you know that. They are going to ask for your method of payment, so they are going to ask you to pay with a credit card. They are going to ask, though, your annual income. So if your parents make a certain amount and there's a certain number of people in your family, you are eligible to pay, basically to not pay for 4 applications, meaning they're going to waive the fees for 4 campuses for you. Now, they don't tell us what that income is because they're afraid that we will say, oh, go ahead and put down $35,000 because that's the cutoff. So they won't tell us what that is, unfortunately. The other thing is you're going to need your California statewide student ID number. Does anyone know where? Oh, actually, it's written on here. I was going to try to test you guys. This number is on your transcript, okay? And I think on your transcript, it just says CSIS or CSIS number. So that's your state ID number. You will need that. Okay, if you're going to be applying to the EOP program, then you have a few other questions you're going to have to answer, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay? Okay, so most the CSUs, because these are pretty large universities, they're going to send you emails. That's how they're only going to how they're going to communicate with you. So it's super important that whatever email you use is one that you're going to be able to access and access forever. So in other words, don't use your charter email, right? Because your charter email is going to turn off about the week after you graduate. So use a personal email address and make sure it's one that you use, check all the time. Or like I said earlier in the year, maybe it's going to be one that you create, you know, just for this whole process. Okay. Okay. When you're filling out your extended profile as you're a freshman, right? You got to remember a lot of people are filling out this application from all different, you know, walks of life. So be careful with these questions, okay? So you're all applying for your first bachelor's degree, and you're all graduating high school senior or equivalent, okay? So even if you've accrued like 15 college units, you're still graduating high school senior. So that last question, they are gonna ask you, have you taken and earned college credits through a community college? So those of you, I know a lot of you in here have, you've taken statistics this semester, or you've taken audio tech maybe with Mr. Spiva and done the paperwork for that, or you've taken, like Zoe, I know has taken a bunch of courses. So if you've taken courses at the community college, make sure you answer yes there. Okay. On this page is where you're going to actually add programs. And by programs, they just mean major. So you are required to put down a major for each campus that you're applying to, but realize one of your options is undeclared. Okay, so you can choose undeclared, and sometimes you can choose undeclared like social sciences or undeclared natural sciences. The only thing I'd caution you on, there are certain campuses like Cal State Long Beach, for instance, undeclared is the most difficult major because that's what most people put down. So you actually are competing for a spot in undeclared. So for the campus like that, and for the most part, if you have an idea of something, then you probably want to put it down. The two majors that are the most competitive, generally speaking, right now are nursing and engineering. So depending on those, you may, you know, if you are really interested in nursing and engineering, you want to put them down now because trying to switch into them later may not always be possible. Okay, so this is the screen, and I'm gonna show you my sample in just a few minutes, but this is the application. It basically has 4 sections, and as you complete each one, it's going to turn green there. And so it kind of keeps you on track with how much more you have to do. Okay, oops. All right, so one of the questions they're going to ask you is, do you wish to apply to EOP? And so you're going to have to answer one of these 3 ways. And you're like, what is EOP? So EOP is the Educational Opportunity Program, and it's designed for students. And let me see, I might have put my slides. Nope, I think I put in the wrong, okay. I think I missed a slide there. So EOP is for students who are the first in their family to go to college, kind of like I was. You know, my mom dropped out of high school and I was the first in my family to go to college, or for students who are low income, or both. And it is designed to help you graduate from college. It also can help you get admitted to a college. And so if you qualify under one of those circumstances, I strongly encourage you to apply through EOP. So you're going to answer one of these 3 ways. You're going to say not applying to EOP, right? So if you say, you know what, both my parents have a bachelor's degree, I'm not applying, I don't qualify. Or yes, but I'm going to work on it later. Or you can say, yes, I'm going to answer it right now. And if you're going to answer it right now, they are going to ask questions about, like, why do you want to go to college? And they're going to ask about your parents' income and stuff like that. They're also going to ask you for 2 people who would recommend you for EOP. So those tend to be teachers. It could be me as a counselor. It could be a coach. It could be you know, it could be someone that you worked with, maybe like an employer, or someone like your soccer coach, or anybody like that knows you well and can talk about your qualities. Okay. All right. So we're going to look at a sample application. Oops, sorry. So let me get out of here real quick. Okay. And I'm going to go here. Can you still see my screen okay, Zoe? I just want to make sure.
Yep.
Yep, all good. Okay, so when you get into my application here, and I've logged into my fake application, you can see up here, right? Under my name, you're going to see a CAS ID number. That number is important. If you ever need to call or email to get help on your application, they're going to ask you immediately for that ID number, okay? So that's where it's located. You're going to see on all the different sections, the first section here is personal information. And I'm not going to spend time going through this, but you'll see that it's going to ask you like your name and address and your citizenship and your race and ethnicity and your parents or guardians. Again, here's where it's going to ask about that financial information. If you don't answer that, then they cannot see if you're eligible for a fee waiver, okay? After that, if you go back here to my application, let me close it up here. Then you're going to see the academic history, and that's what I'm going to show you today, because when students have trouble with the application, it's always in this section, okay? The next information is, again, the supporting. That's about the EOP program. So now you know what that is. And then the last application is sometimes, depending on the major that you've selected at a certain campus, they might ask you an additional question or two, okay? So I chose anthropology at Bakersfield, and this is just telling me more about the program at Bakersfield. And I just chose it because it was the first one that popped up. Not that I'm interested in anthropology. Okay, so let's go to academic history. And this is the key part, okay? So you're going to put, obviously, in high schools attended, you're going to search for Natomas Charter and add it. If you've gone to any other high school, like let's say you transfer to us from NP3 or Intercom, you're going to make sure you add it as well, okay? If you've done summer school courses at like Brigham Young University Online High School or National University Online High School or Options for Youth, you're going to add it here as well, okay? You're going to put in your graduation status, and you're going to put in this date. And that's sometimes students have trouble because they put in the wrong date here. I know for a lot of you, you started in charter in 6th grade. I know we've even had students who started at PACT in kindergarten, but they don't want all of that. They just want to know when you started high school. Okay, so make sure you put August 2017 to June 2021. Okay, so as you go down here and do academic information, okay, they're also going to ask you the colleges you've attended. So this is where you're going to add in a college or university, right? So for some of you, like let's say you went to Sacramento City College, right? Sacramento City, there it is. So I'm going to pop it in there. I'm going to say, no, I'm not getting a degree from them. They use a semester system. And then I'm going to tell them when my first semester I went there was. So let's say I went last fall. I'm going to say I went fall of, 2019. And I finished up winter of, or January of 2020. Okay. And I can check the box if I'm still saving that, going to courses there. Okay, so that's what I've got. Then underneath there, this is the part usually where students have trouble. So make sure you're watching this part, okay? So here it's going to just show you, they want you to enter all of your A through G courses by grade level. So one thing real quick, and Zoe, I'm going to see if anyone can answer this. Does anyone know, is health an A through G course? What's your best guess? Anybody? Anybody want to guess or no? I see a few heads shaking. Okay, nobody would. This group is a quiet group. I like this group, but it's a quiet group. Okay, so you're right. Health is, oops, got wrong screen. Health is not an A through G course. It's just a state requirement. So we wouldn't put health on here. Same thing with PE. We would not put PE on here, okay? Same thing with video game production. It's too technical, so they won't accept it because it's so, computer technical. And so we wouldn't put that course on either. So no PE, no health, and no video game. Audio tech you would put on here, but you would actually put audio tech as a college course because it's actually a music course that you can get. It shows you to college level. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to add a grade level. So you could start either with 12th grade and work your way back, or you can start with 9th grade. And you'll see that they put 9th grade up first, 2017 to 2018. So you're going to click on that. You're going to click here. And then you're going to start typing in courses. And this is what I mentioned earlier. You do not want to ever type out the name of a course. You want to just start typing. and then the course will pop up. If you start typing in your names of courses, that means that they could or could not be A through G approved, and that's going to send your application to a different person altogether and delay perhaps your acceptance. So don't do that. So just click in either English 9, the course type. If it wasn't AP or honors, you wouldn't put anything. You would just say none. Then you're going to put in your fall grade. Let's say I got an A-, and then spring, I got a B+, and then I'm just going to accept the course. Okay? Does that make sense? When I'm done with 9th grade, I'm going to add a grade level, and here I'll put 10th grade, right? But was it 2017? No, it was 2018. I'm going to accept. And then the same thing, I'm going to put down, now 10th grade's at the top, right? And I'm maybe in 10th grade, I took chemistry. So search for chemistry. Let's say I got a C- in the fall and a C+ in the spring, and I'm going to select that. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And once you've done that, you can save and continue. Okay? Now, here's the one thing I did want to point out. Always students seem to have trouble because it'll show them, wait a second, I don't have all my courses. And that's because they forgot to put 12th grade. So make sure when you put 12th grade, you're going to put in 20 to 21, right? You're going to select that and put in a course. Oops, sorry, hold on one second. There we go. You're going to put in, let's say, expository reading and writing, right? With Miss, oh wait, it's at the top. Sorry, here we go. So Miss Calero's class is called ERWC, Expository Reading and Writing. It actually pops up as CSU Expository Reading and Writing, okay? Because actually it was created by the Cal State University professors. And so then you'll say, would I put a grade for this or would I put in progress? What's your best guess? Who knows? Anybody? Zoe, anybody in the chat or anybody want to unmute?
Sierra says in progress.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Sierra. So we're going to put in progress for fall, and then we're going to say planned for spring. Okay. And it's going to tell you to do that as well, which is nice. It never used to do that before. Okay. So there are some courses. Oh, another course you will not put down because it's too individual is senior experience. Senior experience is not A through G. It's too individual. So we don't put it in here either. Okay. Then you're going to go into college coursework. And again, whatever college class you put, you'll put those in. And then A through G matching. So this part is important because, again, if it tells you, look at here, it says I've only done 2 years of English and 1 physical science, that chemistry class, right? So I'm missing stuff, and that's not good. So you want to look at this and make sure that if it says 4 years, I have 4 over here. You can also update your courses. And you can look to say, okay, so this is an English class, so it's an area B, English, right? And this was a chemistry class, so it's an area 2D, physical science. So if you're having an issue, usually you can troubleshoot by going to this part and figure out what happened. Okay? And then lastly is your standardized test, again, if you want to include any of those. And honestly, y'all, that is it. It is really the best application. It is the easiest one. And if you got started, I'm going to take any questions. But if you got started like right now, you could probably finish close to 2:30 and have it all done today. Okay. So let me see what questions I can answer for you. Who has
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Please go ahead, Camilla.
So I'm filling out the high schools attended, and since I've been going to Natomas Charter since 6th grade, should I put it since 6th grade or just at the beginning of high school?
No, good question. No, only high school. Yeah, okay. We're unique, right? That we have our 6th through 12, but they just care about high school. And if you put in 6th grade in that year, that will screw everything up. So good question.
It would be 2017.
Yeah, August of 2017 is when you started freshman year. Yep.
And then end date would be 21.
June 2021. You got it. Yep, because you're all going to graduate next June, right? Woohoo! Hooray! All right. So what questions do you have? I know this one is, again, this is the most straightforward, but Zoe, go ahead, hon.
When we're putting in colleges attended, it says term and then year, and then when it says academic status, does that mean college-wise what our academic status is, or what our academic status was when we were taking the course?
Oh, good question. I probably need to look at that for a second. Hold on let me see. So if you're here, right, and I'm going to start entering my transcript, is this what you're talking about? You're starting by a term. Oh, academic status. I remember now. They told us just to tell you to put freshman. Because again, that's the hard part, is that all kinds of students are using this application, right? And so they know for high school students, they probably should put another like no option, but they said to put down freshman.
Another quick question.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah, go ahead,
Another
Tammy.
quick question. So underneath like the high school, it says term type. So before selecting, and it has like quarter, semester, trimester, full year.
Good question. Who knows the answer to that? Anybody want to guess? What are we always going to put down for these college applications? What system are we on?
Semester.
Margaret, say again, honey.
Semester.
You got it. Yeah, we are always going to be semester. Even though we talk about quarter grades, right, and the quarter's almost over and blah, 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 we are a true semester system where we only give final grades at the end of each semester, December, June. Okay, good questions. You guys have great questions. Any other questions? Morgan, it looks like you're trying to talk, but you're muted. Do you want to ask a question, sweetie?
Yes. So on the application, should I put BLA separate from PFAA?
Oh, good question. No, we are all one school. We have one, what we call a SEEB code, and we are all one school. So yeah, you wouldn't need to separate that out at all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. What other questions do you all have? And maybe they won't come up, you know, until you actually start working on them. So that's sometimes what happens. So why don't we do this for now? Again, it's only 1:30. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. So I always forget how to do that. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. So